Welcome back, folks. We took a 2-week hiatus. We went on a cruise. I moved back to school. As you can tell, my background's a little different. No, I'm not in a dorm because everybody says, "Are you in your dorm? An apartment?" Not that it even matters, but I'm a little more bougie than a dorm. That's all I'm getting at. The cruise was lit though. We did our draft. Maybe at the end of the podcast, we'll show our teams. Varan cucked me. He took Kelsey like he said he wasn't going to. I'm sure it's recorded in the previous podcast. But it's cool, dude. I still got a really good team. I think Varan likes his team. I'm excited. I know Varan wasn't super happy with like a couple rounds, but we're excited for the season. And in this week's episode, we're going to just kind of dive into week one. We're going to pick head-to-head. We think throughout the season maybe we'll start picking odds instead of just head-to-head, but we're going to pick who we think will win head-to-head and pick players that we likes in the game. People maybe that you should target on your waiver wire throughout the season. Obviously, you're not really probably targeting anybody right now. And we'll talk about like daily fantasy, like sleepers who we think we like. Probably specifically FanDuel because I typically use FanDuel more than DraftKings.
Yeah.
All right, so let's just hop right into this thing. First game of the season. Packers at Bears, Thursday Night Football. It's a hell of a way to kick off the season.
Yeah.
Two teams that probably really aren't like Super Bowl contenders, but they're definitely teams that I would expect to make the playoffs and teams that you wouldn't want to play come playoff time. The Bears are going to have, top 3 or 4 defense again this year. If the Packers can keep Aaron Rodgers healthy, Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams are going to eat all season, and they'll probably be 9-7 if I was picking. I think the Bears will probably be somewhere around 9-7 as well.
Yeah, I mean, Chicago's, like you said, they've got a elite tier defense right now and possibly the best defensive player, if not the second best, next to Aaron Donald.
Yeah, I'd give Khalil Mack number 2, but
yeah,
you're talking about number 2 in the whole entire NFL, so he's pretty good. I think I'm picking the Bears. I would take the Bears in this if I was betting just straight head to head. Give them the home field advantage and the defensive advantage.
Yeah, I would say I would probably go. I mean, selfishly, I want the Packers to win because I'll have Aaron Rodgers as my starting quarterback, but
Aaron Rodgers
I
can do
also have
good
Chicago defense, so that's also
so
cool. But I think that Chicago they'll win this game. I think
the Packers will not be able to move the ball well enough to beat the Bears pretty much.
I'm actually on Odd Sharks right now, and I'll use that this entire episode. But they have the predicted score as 14-26 Chicago.
Wow, they're that big of a favorite?
Yeah,
that's
they
crazy.
said that they will win, cover the spread, and the total will go under.
What's the spread? I've seen like 6.
Let's see.
I'm curious to see though.
It's actually -3 Chicago consensus.
Okay, so they're saying they're gonna bump, but Vegas says it's close. I'm curious to see though. This is the first professional game. David Montgomery. Obviously, a lot of people think Montgomery could end up being a 3-down back.
Yeah.
Tarek Cohen, like, what's his role going to be? Last year, I will say, week 1, Jordan Howard caught 5 passes. I had Jordan Howard, and I was excited. I was like, oh, buddy. And Jordan Howard caught, like, 7 passes the rest of the season. So, I don't think week 1 necessarily means, if David Montgomery just takes the workload, I don't think that necessarily kills Tarek Cohen, but we'll see.
This is a good one to watch, like you said, for Montgomery, but also on the Packers side of the ball. That number 2 and 3 receiver, definitely going to see who's going to emerge out of there.
Yeah, because Randall Cobb is gone too, so that's not a question mark. It's really Valdez Scantling or Geronimo Allison.
Yeah, and you're really going to see who's being utilized more, what position. Right now, it's still kind of gray, but depth chart has Allison number 2, Valdez Scantling number 3. But who knows? I mean, we're all.
One thing's for sure, Devontae Adams is number 1.
Oh.
Yeah. Football's back too. That'll be a good game to watch. It's a good game to kick off the season.
Yeah.
Let's get into Rams Panthers now. I think that'll also be a very good football game. I think the Rams defense is a little healthier this year. They lost Sue, which obviously that's a big blow, but as we were talking about earlier, they They signed Fowler,
Yeah, Dante Fowler Jr.
which that was a steal last year. Didn't they get him for like a 7th round pick or 6th round pick from the Jags?
Um, I'm not entirely sure what pick, but it was like later on.
Yeah,
I mean, I think at earliest it was like a 3rd round pick, but
I don't even think it
still,
was that.
he actually ended up coming in and making some key plays um, in that Saints game
Yeah, that was
to
big for
allow
their
them to go,
defense.
yeah, to go to the Super Bowl. And you know,
Eventually lose.
I think Jared Goff is going to be. I think he's a sneaky quarterback this year. I think he could easily finish in top 5 if he plays his cards right.
Yeah, I think he has a pretty good game in week 1 versus the Panthers, and I think that the Rams win that game.
Yeah,
I like their wide receivers this week, all 3 of them. Obviously, I think if I was picking, I would like Cup the least because health wise, you just don't know if he's 100% or not.
yeah, it's still not unclear there. They actually on the odd sharks they have them Carolina as will win, cover the spread, and the total will go under. But the predicted score is only 19-20.
Yeah,
So
so
I mean, it'll be a close game. Um, you know, it's interesting to see what happens with Gurley. See if he still is their 100% bell cow, or if he's going to be tethered back some.
I think
Um,
Gurley will still have a really good season. I wrote this in the draft review that ended up getting deleted, but I think it did. Oh, it bothered me so much. Like it literally was like clear, and then the whole thing was gone. Sure. I couldn't undo it. Did away with the box when I was typing up my draft review, and it was like probably like 1,000 words gone that I'd typed. But Gurley, I think he'll still be really good this year. I think he'll be slightly more efficient, but I think his volume will be down. 20%. I think he'll have less points this year, obviously, but I do think he'll be worth. I don't know if he'll be worth the 1st round pick that Colton took him at, but I think his ADP will be right around where he is, like running back. Like a low end running back 1.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was the Gurley truther, and I actually was like, I think it's a lot of hype around his injury. I really do.
It was just so
I mean,
weird last year at the end of the season,
w-
right? Like it was like,
yeah, but I mean, he's dealt with that since college. Like,
yeah,
what is it? What's the big deal now?
I don't know. But last year he wasn't showing up on injury reports and was getting like 8 touches a game, and he'd getting 20 on. It was strange.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
very like gray area on them wanting to talk about it and stuff, which is just I don't know. It's weird to me.
unusual for sure. I just think, I still think he's gonna eat
Yeah,
like
no, I think
most
I
of the
think
year.
yeah, I think he'll have a very good season. Like I said, I mean, low end running back 1.
Also,
We're talking about
I hope
stud
my
still.
boy eats in that game too. I mean,
McCaffrey, I don't. But I do think he will. I do think he will. Uh, Apparently they only
yeah,
play once every 3 years. Looking at this recap, that's interesting. I don't know that, but I think McCaffrey has a good game. I think Cam has a decent game. I don't particularly love anybody else on the Panthers side of the ball. Like I said, I really like the Rams wide receivers, so I also like Jared Goff, and the running back situation's weird.
yeah.
Let's get in Redskins Eagles now.
Redskins Eagles interdivisional matchup week 1. Don't you gotta love that.
Yeah, you do. And
But
was Dwayne Haskins, the number 15 pick's gonna have to be watching from the sidelines. They went with Case Keenum, which I think was the play. Case Keenum's
yeah,
serviceable. I think he's a veteran quarterback who will be good for teaching Dwayne Haskins, like kind of getting his feet wet, helping him. I think the Eagles win this game, though. The Eagles are a better football team. I think their defense is better. Their offense is better. It's just a complete football team. They've been really good the past 2 seasons.
yeah, I think it won't even be close. I think the Eagles are gonna blow them out.
Yeah, I think
Like I
they'll win
think,
by at least double digits, if not 2
mm,
touchdowns.
yeah, I would say at least 14. Um, I mean, they're already projected Carson Wentz to be an MVP
Candidate.
candidate.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
if he's healthy, I mean the offense around him is huge. You got a lot of options at running back. Miles Sanders. That's what'll be interesting about the Eagles game, right? To see how they start handling their running back situation.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna first look at Dallas Goedert being more prominent. You still got Zach Ertz. You're gonna have Alshon Jeffrey. You're gonna have Deshaun Jackson. I mean, you still got Aguilar as your wide receiver 3. They drafted Arcega Whiteside, which He's just probably going to get shadowed under so many other targets this year, but he could be good in the future for him. The Eagles are kind of set up to be good for the next couple years as well.
Yeah. Deshaun Jackson expected to play week 1 though, just so everybody knows. But he suffered a broken finger this week. But they said there's no torn ligaments, and the receiver expects to play on the opener, so that's a good sign. Um, Odd Sharks has currently the projected score at 8-27, Philadelphia. So
Yeah, not really
um,
shocked there. What's the spread on that?
spread consensus, they have Washington plus 8.5,
Yeah, I would expect the Eagles to.
Philadelphia 8 point, negative 8.5.
Yeah,
So
I would expect the Eagles to cover that as well. Yeah, there's not really
they
much else to say about that. We like for fantasy purposes, I like Alshon Jeffrey. Don't really like anybody on the Redskins offense. I like Ertz and I like Wentz. I like the passing game. I don't really know what to expect from the Eagles running game, so
yeah,
kind of a
like you
wait and see
said.
approach more than anything.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I would feel comfortable starting anybody on the Redskins at all. I mean, at all. And I guess since Reed had another concussion, supposedly, he probably won't be playing in the game. So I'd probably go ahead and fade him if you are starting him as your
You think there would be a
starting tight end.
policy, right? Like a minimum, like, oh, you just hit your seventh concussion, sir. You can't play
There
football
is,
anymore.
but who knows?
That's Reed. I'd be curious to see what kind of numbers he could put up in 16 full games, like a couple years ago. I just,
Hmm.
if he even could manage to play 16 games this year, he wouldn't be playing. He'd be playing 50% of snaps or whatever. So it's not
Yeah.
really a full season. Let's go into the Jets and Bills. You're gonna have last year, uh, number one pick Darnold versus last year's what, like 8 pick, 10 pick, something. Josh Allen. Josh Allen.
Something like that.
Josh Allen ended up being pretty productive at the end of the year, largely due to his legs. Both
Hmm.
of the Jets and the Bills have decent defenses. I don't think this will be a high scoring game. I think I'll take the home field advantage with the Jets. I think Darnold is better than Josh Allen. Like obviously, Jets did last year when they drafted Darnold. Um, I like Robbie Anderson and Darnold in this game enough. I don't think I would start Darnold at all in fantasy, but on
Yeah.
FanDuel or something, I would think about possibly taking him as a low owned option. Same with Robbie Anderson. Robbie Anderson is technically questionable right now too, so that'll scare some people away. Unless that gets cleared up, the next couple days. Uh, Running back situation, I like Le'Veon Bell in that game as well. With the Bills, I wouldn't. I don't think I would touch anybody on their offense other than maybe Josh Allen.
You wouldn't touch Frank Gore there.
Dude, as much as the big salad continues to be the big salad for the last 3 years, I think I would pass.
Yeah. Nah. I guess for your guy, Devin Singletary, it'd be interesting to see if he gets the reins for week
I'm
1.
I doubt it. What I think will happen with Devin Singletary is I think by week 8 he will have carved out a significant change of pace third down role and possibly already got the starting job by then. I don't think so. I think if he's getting the starting job, it's like week 10, 11, 12, something like that towards like late into the season. But I think he'll carve out a role where he's getting those passes, and then it'll be like Tarek Cohen was last year, and he'll be not as productive because Tarek Cohen was insane, like yards per catch, yards per target, yards after catch, stuff like that. But I think Devin Singletary would be pretty productive with his targets, and I think that in turn will start getting him, a little more rushing work, and then go from there. Maybe he doesn't ever do anything because he's kind of small. Maybe he doesn't ever do anything other than catch passes in the NFL, but we'll see.
Yeah. Odd Sharks has a projected score right now, 19-22 Jets. They'll win. Buffalo will cover, and the total will go over.
I think that'll be
The
a close game.
spread right now is Buffalo +3, and Jets -3. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I think they both, like you said, the biggest thing will be their defenses. Their
Yeah.
defenses are both pretty solid. So we'll see. But we can go on to the next Falcons and Vikings.
Another really good week 1 matchup.
Yeah,
Vikings are changing their offense a little bit this year. I got Dalvin Cook, so I hope that they're just super, super heavy running the ball. And all preseason, the 3 podcasts, I've done nothing but praise Dalvin Cook. Dear Lord, please let this man be healthy. Let him play at least 14 plus games this year. I think Dalvin Cook's got top, 7, 8 running back potential this year, especially with the Vikings trying to go a little more run heavy. I like everybody on both sides of the ball in this game. I think this will be. When I say everybody, I'll leave it at I don't love Ridley. Julio, you can never go wrong with Julio. Matt Ryan's pretty consistent, and Devontae Freeman. I'm curious to see what Devontae Freeman's workload is. I do like everybody on the Vikings defense, though. I like Thielen. I like Diggs. I like Cook. Cousins is probably a decent low-owned option. I wouldn't really touch Rudolph.
maybe not week 1, but I actually have him as like a possible breakout candidate this year.
Rudolph?
Yeah.
Yeah, people kind of disrespected Rudolph. I don't know. I just don't know how many times a game the Vikings will be thrown. So I'm curious to see. I think this will be, like I said, a higher scoring game. I'm going to pick the Vikings to win just solely because their defense is a little bit better. And I think they'll control the pace of the game.
Yeah, I mean, and plus they're at home. They have a huge home field advantage. Yeah, I mean, I would also go Vikings here in this matchup.
For the record, me and Varan both for the past 3 or 4 years have been Kirk Cousins guys. We both like Cousins. It just doesn't seem to get the respect that I feel like he deserves. He's a solid NFL quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if he would have had a year put together like Matt Ryan did, his MVP year, then all of that would go away. The only bad thing is
he's got a ton
he's
of
just
pieces around him
bad
this year.
against
Good
he's just
teams.
bad against good teams, yeah. But sooner or later, that cycle has to end.
Regression to the mean, baby.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of pieces around him this year, though. I think the Vikings are Super Bowl contenders immediately. Although I will say on the opposite side of that, I think Falcons, they're going to be one of the better teams in the year as well.
Yeah,
if Freeman can stay healthy. If Freeman goes down, I think that's a major hit to the Falcons because they don't have Tevin Coleman anymore to, lean on. They're leaning on, like, what, Ito Smith?
No, thanks. Yeah, I actually have the Falcons finishing third in their division. I think the other two, the Saints and the Panthers, are actually be fighting for first and second.
Yeah, I agree. That's a tough division.
But on Odd Sharks, they have Minnesota covering. Then they will win, but the total will go under. They have the score 28-13, Minnesota. So
kind of an ass whooping, 28-13.
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking out decimal points too. It's actually 28.3 to 13.7.
That's
so, and the consensus is plus 3.5, Atlanta. So,
let's get into Baltimore Dolphins. I really don't think this will be that great of a game. The only thing that'll keep it even somewhat close, I think, is either some Fitz magic or just the home field advantage for the Dolphins. The Ravens like to run the ball a lot, so I would assume that they don't put up just a ton of points. But I do love Mark Ingram in this game on FanDuel. He's only 6,600. I think that's a phenomenal pick this week. Dolphins, I would avoid everybody on the Dolphins offense. I'd want no part in that. And the Ravens should have no trouble winning this game.
Yeah, I think it actually be a whole lot closer than people expect. I think Fitzmagic will come in and throw 8 touchdowns. So, no. Baltimore's defense, in my opinion, is 1/2 in the league this year. I really think if they figure out a way to use Lamar Jackson right, maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but maybe the year after, you could see them in the serious playoff run potential.
Tech says he thinks they win 28-10. I could definitely see that.
Yeah.
I don't really see it being closer than 2 touchdowns.
The odds right now, they actually have Baltimore winning 18-17. So that's how close they think it is.
I just don't
Um,
think the Dolphins will be able to score 2 touchdowns. I could be wrong, but I'm curious to
I
see what the
mean,
Dolphins do with their running back situation. I have
yeah,
Kenyon Drake. Brand has Balaj. To be fair, I drafted Kenyon Drake in the 10th round. You got to take Kenyon Drake in the 10th round. I mean, the guy was going in the 6th round. So it's not going to be killer to
yeah,
me or something. I didn't take him in the 6th round. If he ends up getting overtaken by Balaj, that's great for Varane, but it doesn't kill me by all means. He was the 5th running back I drafted. So
yeah.
I'm curious
We
to see how that
actually,
unfolds, though, either way.
yeah, we took Drake and Balaj like back to
Back to
back
back.
right there.
Me, I also have Duke Johnson, and there was talks about Kenyon Drake getting traded to Houston, which we'll get into Duke Johnson in a little bit. But please, 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 Houston, don't need Kenyon Drake. He's not that much, if any, better than Duke Johnson.
Well,
Please
I
get
mean,
Laramie
they do
Tunsil,
have
if anything, if you're gonna get rid of Clowney.
they have a rapport there of draft, trading for running backs from Miami. So
Fun fact: Duke Johnson. I'm gonna look up his height and weight for you real quick because I don't remember it off the top of my head. Duke Johnson, 5'9", 210 pounds. Dalvin Cook. There's no doubt that Dalvin Cook's 3-down back this year. Dalvin Cook, 6', 209 pounds. So he weighs less than Duke Johnson, even though he's got a few inches on him. So Duke Johnson is not as small as everybody thinks. You know.
no, he's
I,
actually pretty stocky.
yeah. So Duke Johnson, it's potential for him to be a 3-down back. We'll get to that more in Houston when we get to the Houston
But
game.
yeah, I mean, wrapping up Miami Dolphins game and Baltimore Ravens, I think really, I know Matthew's not as high as him, but I think Lamar Jackson's being slept on, like right now.
Tex has a
I
good
think,
point where 18-17, right? That's a predicted score. That kind of says a lot about how they feel about Lamar Jackson.
yeah, I mean,
I think so last year their running back was like a question mark right at the end of the season. They were starting Gus
yeah,
Edwards, like Gus the Bus. Woo, undrafted Gus the Bus. But Mark Ingram coming in, you actually have a really good running back who I think will be really productive this year, and I think that takes away from Lamar Jackson's need to rush, right? Because Mark
right,
Ingram will be effective. So
yeah, and I definitely think like here's a huge sleeper. I mean, it's not really huge, but people know about him. But Justice Hill, if you haven't looked at some of his highlight tapes, you need to go back and look at
if
some
he's
of
on
his
your
highlight
waiver
tapes.
wire and you have some butt people on your team that you can drop and afford to drop, Justice Hill is somebody that I would stash as well.
I really think that,
Same with Devin Singletary, which we didn't say earlier, but me and Varane have.
yeah, yeah, Justice Hill is definitely somebody that could easily come in and be that Mark Ingram and
Alvin Kamara type
Galvin,
deal.
yeah, Alvin Kamara, and Justice Hill will be that Alvin Kamara role. He is actually a little bit undersized comparatively, so he's not going to be that bruiser back, but he is elusive. It's crazy. Some of his cuts he makes are unreal, and he can catch the ball really well.
Fun
So,
fact: me and Varane also took Justice Hill and Devin Singletary back to back.
yep. So, I uh, I definitely am high on him. I think that we very much could see him week one go into that role. So be prepared for that. If not, then maybe later on this season.
I don't think it'll be as soon as week one, but I do think that he'll come into that at least like at minimum. He's a pass catcher, you know. He might not
Yeah,
be getting the carries that Alvin Kamara was getting, but I think he comes into the pass catcher kind of like Devin Singletary, but I think he'll be a little more prominent a little sooner than Devin Singletary.
yeah.
All right,
Uh,
Chiefs at Jags. Go.
yeah, I mean, we're getting take a look at our last year's MVP, Patrick Mahomes.
Current
Had
favorite to be this year's MVP, which isn't really surprising.
yeah, I mean, every year it's kind of that deal, but I mean, I don't think he's gonna pass for 50 touchdowns this year. Sorry about it, but
Sorry, I don't
even
think he has another historic season where he
yeah,
puts up 50 touchdowns and 5,000 yards. I don't either. There's probably going to be some regression, but regression, you're
40
talking about,
touchdowns.
yeah, 40 touchdowns and 4,800 yards. Woo, what a terrible season Patrick Mahomes is
Yeah,
about to have.
I like everybody from the Chiefs.
Yeah,
I mean, you really don't
I don't know.
can't go
The,
wrong.
the running back situation's kind of sketch. Damian Williams has been falling in drafts because it's like, well, Darwin Thompson's coming out, and it's like, Damian Williams
I
might get
still
a little
think
less
it's Williams'
touches.
job.
I do too. I think it's his job to lose, but I don't know.
But if he's not effective, Andy
Curious to see.
Reid
It's
is
week 1. You don't have any evidence
yeah.
to go on through the season, so I'm curious to see how they handle their running back situation. But you gotta like,
Andy Reid is known to throw in guys that he hasn't used before and see if they can work, and they have.
yeah.
So
Andy Reid's on that Belichick next man up can do it kind of thing, which is
for sure.
incredible coaching. I mean, you can't not like Mahomes, you can't not like Kelsey, Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill versus Jalen Ramsey. I don't know if I would touch Tyreek Hill, but I mean, Tyreek Hill is one of the receivers in the league. He's the top tier of that because he can do more than that. But he's one of those guys who can have 3 catches for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns. He doesn't need but a couple of big plays to be really good. But I think Jalen Ramsey versus Tyreek Hill would be interesting.
Yeah, that'll be good TV to watch.
Yeah.
I think I'm picking the Kansas City Chiefs in there. I mean,
yeah, I think I'm gonna go with the Chiefs.
It's gonna be interesting seeing Foles come in for first time on a different team.
Yeah.
Also,
they put in some
an
good
MVP
time
of sorts.
Yeah.
He was the MVP of the Super Bowl. So
he put in really good couple years with the Eagles, though. I mean,
He did.
They almost got to put a shrine up for Nick Foles.
Yeah, right next. Actually, let's put a shrine of Nick Foles just right next to Carson Wentz's locker in the locker room. So I have to look at that every.
Get in his head. I think obviously the choice is Kansas City. I think the Jaguars, because Kansas City's defense isn't great. I love Nick Foles this week on FanDuel. He's 6,500. D.D. Westbrook's 5,900. I made one FanDuel team earlier before we started the podcast, and that was my hookup because it lets you take some studs. Running back situation is Leonard Fournette's to have all as much as he wants. They're change of pace. They don't have a TJ Yeldon there anymore. Yeah. Can Fournette stay healthy? If he can, he should be decent this year. In past, he's been decent strictly due to volume, right? Because his yards per carry wasn't great, but catches passes, he scores. If he can stay healthy, Fournette will be good this year, and he'll probably be good in this game.
Yeah, I actually was having him under the radar as a running back in FanDuel.
D.D. Westbrook, by the way, he was one of my favorite 7th, 8th round wide receivers because I think he'll be Nick Foles' guy. And the one game that they played, 7 out of 10 passes from Nick Foles went to D.D. Westbrook.
Yeah, OddsSharks has Kansas City winning this game. They'll win, cover the spread, and the total will go under. They have the total score right now 22.9 to 16.5. So they're giving the Jags 16 points. It would be unfair to say that at least one touchdown may go to.
I wouldn't be surprised if that went over though. Yeah, because Kansas City's defense isn't great. I wouldn't be surprised to see Jacksonville score 21, 24 points, but they're not going to be able to. They're just not going to be able to put up more points than the Chiefs, I feel like. And the Jags have a good defense, but the Chiefs have a better offense.
Yep, it's plain and simple.
Titans-Browns, the homer game for us.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tennessee. I, as a Tennessee fan, quote unquote.
It's not the Browns though.
Yeah, I'm saying as a Tennessee fan. I'm not a diehard Tennessee fan, but I pull for the Titans. I want to see them do good. With that being said,
same.
Yeah. I think the Browns are going to win this football game.
I think it's not really going to be close.
Yeah, I think if it was in Tennessee, I could see it going either way, but I think I still might pick the Browns. The Browns offense should be really good this year, and their defense is also pretty good. So Browns, everybody's expecting them to do it, man. Everybody's expecting them to be really good. So I definitely am on the boat that thinks they'll be good. They just have too many players to not perform. I feel like curious to see if Mayfield and Landry will be on a better rapport than they were last year because Landry was getting a ton of targets, but he wasn't really being super productive. But with that being said, obviously I'd expect them to have a little more chemistry. But is that kind of painting the picture for OBJ? Is OBJ and Mayfield not going to be completely on the same page early in this year? So that's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily love anybody in this game on either side of the ball for fantasy purposes. I think maybe Corey Davis is a decent argument for a flex.
Nick Chubb, I like him.
Yeah, but the Titans, their rush defense is kind of their bread and butter. So
yeah, but I don't care. I think
Nick Chubb has a solid floor because he's going to be a 3-down back, especially now that
he catches the ball really well.
Yeah, he does. Nick Chubb's a stud though. That's That's like being
I
like,
really,
oh, I
I
like
honestly,
Saquon Barkley this week because you like him every week.
yeah. I mean, this is a bold statement, but it wouldn't surprise me if Nick Chubb is RB1 at the end of the year.
That is a bold statement because it would surprise me. But it wouldn't surprise me if he was top 5 necessarily, like low end 5. I just think it would be hard for him to outscore. There's a lot of mouths to feed there. I think it'd be hard for him to outscore Barkley, McCaffrey, Kamara.
Well, what I'm saying by that is like he has production as the only back for at least what 8, 10 weeks.
Yeah, but then you got that at least. But all of those other guys is not an at least. There's 16
Yeah.
games unless they get hurt. But I'm picking the Browns. Let's get into this Chargers Colts. Rest in peace to Andrew Luck. He retired. It's pretty sad. It's not really breaking news. Everybody should know by this point. Andrew Luck, I mean, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. You hate to see that happen. It was like when Calvin Johnson retired. Except a little different. Calvin Johnson was just tired of losing. Andrew Luck was tired of being hurt and then rehabbing. He was tired of the cycle that he was in. But, good for him. His health is definitely more important than watching him play football from a fan's perspective. So I'm glad that he, was able to be, I don't know, confident enough. Confidence not really the word I'm looking for, but enough to take
I would
that
say
leap.
just wise enough.
Yeah, like kudos
Listen
to him.
to your
Yeah.
body.
Kudos to him for doing that. I'm going to take the Chargers in this game. If Luck was playing, this would be a phenomenal football game. I think Luck being out, you got the drama in the locker room. Jacoby Brissett's a week ago was not thinking he's going to be starting in this football game. Now he's starting for the whole season. Actually, I guess he might have been thinking because Luck had a lingering injury. But
Yeah, well, I mean, they were probably already prepping him to start.
but going
And
from being like, oh, well, I could start in week 1 to, oh, I'm starting in weeks 1 through 17. That's a little different picture. But the Chargers defense is suffocating. The Chargers don't have Melvin Gordon, but I think Eckler / Jackson will be good enough to where that's not a factor that Gordon is gone, especially in this game.
Yeah.
I like everybody on the Chargers offense. I like Eckler a lot. On FanDuel, he's cheap. Justin Jackson's also cheap. On the Colts, for the season, I mean, even Hilton, he takes a hit with Luck being out.
I think I'm picking the Chargers in this game for sure. Also, I really think Keenan Allen's going to eat this week, like a lot. The Colts secondary is not that great at all, and it's Philip Rivers. He's going to sling the ball, so I think he and Williams are interesting options in fantasy and also in FanDuel. You can take a look at both of them.
Eckler, like I said, he's cheap. I have him on my team, so I'm a little biased towards Eckler. I think last year when Gordon was out, Eckler was the guy. Eckler got twice as many touches as Justin Jackson. That might be a little closer this year, but I think Eckler's still the guy, at least like 65-35-ish. But with that being said, if I know Eckler's not going to be on the waiver wire, but if possible, Justin Jackson's on the waiver wire, go get Justin Jackson. Because if anything happens to Eckler, Justin Jackson's going to be getting all the touches, until Melvin Gordon comes back.
I agree. Yeah, and I mean they used Justin Jackson last year too. So
Justin Jackson was good when Eckler got hurt, but Eckler was good when Gordon got hurt, and Justin Jackson was like maybe flex worthy. Right. There was only a 2-week span where I think Gordon was out and Eckler was healthy. I think it was like 1 or 2 weeks after that where Gordon got hurt.
Yeah, but I mean, other than that, Hunter Henry maybe another option.
Yeah,
you can look at him.
Ebron, Doyle, both of them took hits with the Paris Campbell. People were interested in Paris Campbell, but all of them took hits, man.
I was interested in Paris Campbell, but I was off Ebron for sure. I was thinking it was going to be Doyle rules, but
now
it's nobody rules.
Yeah, exactly. That's a lose for everybody. Marlon Mack will still be decent this year. I mean, Hilton will be okay. It's just
he just won't be.
You're not drafting Hilton in the 3rd round with Brissett being the quarterback. You're taking him probably like 4th, maybe even the 5th round.
He's not a wide receiver 1 for me anymore.
I agree.
He's definitely a 2.
He's like a mid 2 for me. I think I'd probably rank him like 16, 17.
I agree.
Let's get into Bengals Seahawks. Brand's team, the Seahawks. So on FanDuel, if you're doing the Survivor Challenge, or if you're doing a Survivor Challenge anywhere, I know ESPN does one where you pick a team every week, but you can't pick the same team throughout the season more than once. This is the game that I picked. I picked the Seahawks in this game. I think Seahawks are at home. I think they're just kind of the same thing. I think they're just better than the Bengals on both sides of the ball, and that's my lock of the week head to head. I'm taking the Seahawks.
Yeah, I completely agree with this. I really think, so I hope that Russell Wilson will come in and just destroy that Bengals defense. Oddcharks actually have them winning the game 28-8.
Yeah, and
So
AJ Green is out.
exactly.
You kind of like Tyler Boyd a little bit in this game because AJ Green's out, so you think that just by default, by volume, that Tyler Boyd will be good. Obviously, Joe Mixon should be good all year too. He's kind of like Nick Chubb as far as like every week. You know, he's in that 3 down back where it's like every week you kind of gotta like him a little bit, sure, just because sheer volume. But obviously you don't like Dalton, you don't like anybody else on the Bengals. That being
You
said,
mean
though,
not Tyler Eifert?
not a
Oh
chance.
God.
Not anymore. Watch him catch 3 touches. He's gonna have 3 catches for 7 yards, 3 touchdowns. The Seahawks, though, I like their running back situation is. That's a question mark too. Chris Carson, I think at the beginning of the year will be their guy. Chris Carson was really good last year, so I kind of feel like he's getting the shaft. But they did draft Rashad Penny.
I kind of wish they would just solidify one guy.
Yeah, that's gonna end up being a timeshare, like a hard timeshare all season. That's what I'm gets
Yeah,
hurt.
I miss seeing like a one guy, Marshawn Lynch there.
Yeah. I like Tyler Lockett. Wide receiver 2 is like a question mark for them. Is DK Metcalf going to be good? He's kind of drawing a little hype towards the end of the preseason.
He's hurt still.
Yeah, but that's what I was about to say. He is have like a nagging injury. But a lot of people think that David Moore would end
Well,
up.
he's hurt too.
Is he? I didn't know he was hurt. But they think that by the end of the season he'll end up being there for 2. So I'm curious to see what their 2 situation is going to be like. And if they're both hurt in this game, I would imagine, I don't know, there's a lot of like questionable tags that I think come into the beginning of the season just because it's like preseason and people are sitting out, because they don't want them to get hurt. So you give them this questionable tag.
That's why I said Lockett has a huge opportunity because there's not really.
Well, I think Lockett will be really good again this year. Lockett was a keeper in our league, 14th round, very very good keeper. But I'd expect him to have a very good game. The Bengals aren't going to be able to slow him down. Partially because nobody will be able to slow him down fast. But Russell Wilson should pick apart this defense.
All right, let's move on.
Bucks 49ers. I think this could be a
the
decent
other
game.
half of my teams.
Yeah, the Buccaneers. I think this could be a good game though. I'm picking the Buccaneers, but I think it'll be close. I think it'll be within a touchdown. I just think the Bucks.
There's so many question marks on both sides of this.
The Bucks and 49ers both have questions at running back. McKinnon's back on IR, so that clears it up a little bit for the 49ers. I think Coleman's going to be more of the running back, and I think Breida's going to catch more passes. Yeah, Varane has Coleman, and I've been a Coleman hater all offseason because I think his ADP has been way too high. But McKinnon going out helps that, right? So that's fine. The Bucks, they also have running back question marks. I didn't want to touch their backfield either.
Not a chance.
Yeah, I think Kittle will be really good in this game. I think Garoppolo will be really good in this game. Dante Pettis will probably be good. If you're Riley, you hope Marquise Goodwin is on the team for this game.
Oh, yeah.
But I like Winston, and I like Godwin, and I like Evans for this game, but also like them all year, right? Varane had Winston as his 10th quarterback this year, which was bold, but that's reasonably bold. New coach. They passed a lot last year. Arians passed a lot the past 2 years, so that could be good. I think Evans and Godwin will eat all year. I really do. I don't know if Godwin will be as good as Arians has hyped him up to be. He is my wide receiver 1, which I'm not just super ecstatic about, but I have like 4 like mid-tier wide receivers, but I have my running backs are super strong, my quarterback's strong. But Godwin, they talk about him, they're like, well, he's built like a wide receiver 1. Arians is like, he's not going to come off the field hardly. He's going to catch possibly over 100 passes. I don't think that. I think he'll catch around, 80-ish passes. I think him and Mike Evans will both have pretty similar seasons, with obviously the edge going to Mike Evans and like touchdowns and yards because he's gonna stretch the field a little better than Godwin will. But I think that's like a similar, not as high caliber, but that's like a great value. Seems kind of toxic to say about Mike Evans because he's phenomenal, but like a great value last year, AB Juju, Big Ben kind of scene.
Yeah. I think Tampa Bay's going to win that game too, unless just Kittle just destroys him. I mean, he's known to do that during weeks, but
Yeah.
Tampa Bay is actually projected 26-17 by Odd Sharks, so I think it's going to be a good game to watch.
Yeah, I think home field advantage plays a part in this. That's why I'm taking the Bucks. But Jimmy G also, he looked terrible in his first preseason start. His second preseason start, he looked decent. So I'm curious to see, one, how is Kittle and Garoppolo's connection? Because last year, Kittle at the beginning of the season, like while he was solid, he wasn't, oh my God, he's George Kittle. It's like, okay, you had a good couple weeks, but then in week 3, Garoppolo goes down, and the rest of the season, he plays 13 games without Garoppolo. Was that just really good chemistry with CJ Beathard, or I'm curious to see what that relationship will be like.
It was Nick Mullins too.
It was Nick
Mullins. Nick Mullins actually played with him in college, so I think
yeah,
that's
exactly.
main.
So, which I think Kittle is good. He's a talent, so that obviously. I don't think that I don't think it had anything to do with Kittle's talent. It's just what to do with chemistry, right? Is the chemistry there yet?
Yeah, I'm hoping that organization saw what he could do and the caliber of player he could be.
I think he should be their top target in their offense this year.
Right. I think I should use him like the Giants use Ingram as their, especially the first couple weeks, as their top target, and like the Patriots did with Gronkowski.
Yeah. Speaking of Evan Ingram, he's in the next game we're looking at. Giants at Cowboys. Taking the Cowboys, even though they don't have Elliott. I just don't. Oh, God, I have Saquon Barkley, so I love Saquon Barkley this year. But, boy, do I not like the Giants' offense this year. Daniel Jones has been phenomenal in the preseason. The Giants are actually 4-0 in the preseason, which is strange because they're probably not going to win but 4 games in the next 16 games that they play. But Golden Tate's out this game. Shepard, while back, is the finger going to bother him? Probably not, but being without Tate, I think Tate's going to be like their most targeted receiver this year. I think Ingram's going to be their best target, but I just don't know offensively if their passing game will be able to be enough because Cowboys are going to have a solid defense again, and their offensive line is healthy this year, right? So I think Varane has Pollard, big on Pollard. He's been hyping up Pollard, but I think Pollard.
Riley didn't pick up Pollard.
Yeah, he didn't. Riley drafted Zeke and didn't pick up Pollard, which was bold. I think Pollard, for daily fantasy purposes, 100%. Roll him out against the Giants. He'll be very good. I think he's like, was it like 5,300 or something on FanDuel? And if he's on your waiver wire for any reason, don't let him keep sitting there. Pick him up, please.
Yeah. I mean, there's reports this week came out that Zeke could be sitting at least 6 weeks.
Yeah, which that's spooky. I hope not. Not even because Varane's sake. Like for Varane's sake, cool. Like Pollard can play for 6 weeks, but I just don't like seeing. Like I have Eckler, and I've even stated multiple times to my friends, like I don't want to see Melvin Gordon sit all season. I really don't, because I want to see the studs play. Right, I want to see the best of the best play, and Melvin Gordon's one of the best running backs in the league. Ezekiel Elliott's one of the best running backs in the league. I don't want to see them sit. That's just lame. Plus, it opens up doors. Like last year, Le'Veon Bell sat all season, so now Ezekiel Elliott thinks that he can sit. Melvin Gordon thinks he can sit, and then they do it and then end up getting paid. Then more running backs are going to do it. It's just lame. Pay him, I guess, right? Oh, my gosh. Pay him or don't pay any of them. Can't let Bell get paid. The NFL's got to be consistent about it. I hope they get paid just either for their sake or whatever, but Zeke's being pretty selfish. He should have taken the offer to be the second highest bid.
Yeah. The other thing is, like, to note of that, basically from what I've read, as Jerry Jones was saying, he would sit 6 weeks and then not play till week 10. So you won't have Zeke till week 10.
Yeah, if you haven't drafted yet, because it's possible people are drafting, still before the season, right?
Mm-hmm. This
I would just my advice would be to avoid Elliott until it's like, oh my God, I can't not take Elliott here, right? Like maybe like 4th round.
I don't think he'll go that far.
I don't know, man. If he's projected to sit, like Melvin Gordon's fall into the 60s and stuff in people's drafts, so that's pretty similar. That's
If
like
you
a
take
round
him,
difference.
you've got to take Tony
Yeah,
Pollard.
exactly. Same with Gordon. I think you got to get Eckler or something.
Eckler.
So, but my advice would be to just kind of avoid that situation because you can get people similar values, right, in the early rounds.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. I mean, the big thing, God, imagine 10 weeks without Elliott and then them hoping that they're still in playoff contention.
yeah, exactly. All right, let's get into
So,
this Lion Cardinals game now. So, number 1 pick.
Kyler
Wee man.
Murray.
Wee man. Wee man goes up against the Lions. Kyler Murray will be good. I think I don't obviously have him as projected as a lot of people did this year because I didn't have him in my top 10, even though I think ADP is like quarterback 8 maybe. But I think Kyler Murray will be better than Rosen was last year. Rosen didn't even win the starting job for the Dolphins. He let
Ryan
Fitzpatrick,
Fitzpatrick.
win the job somehow. He literally was not even able to win anybody's job. He's always been, a backup. I guess
Nah.
he was there with the Jets that year that he was good, but then he sucked and lost his job the next season. So, um, I like David Johnson this game. I'm curious to
Ooh,
see. Right, they
he's gonna eat.
signed, yeah, which the Lions have Damian Harrison, and they re-signed him, and
Yeah.
he's pretty much the running back gobbler. He's a beast at the run stop. But David Johnson will catch some passes. I'm curious to see their wide receiver situation in Arizona. Right, um, they signed Michael
Larry
Crabtree.
Fitz.
Yeah, but they signed Crabtree.
Yeah, but
That doesn't help Fitz, and that doesn't help Christian Kirk. I think all three of them could be solid. Like, that's nice for Kyler Murray, right?
yeah, I think still like if I had to pick one out of there to still get flex appeal the entire year, it's still gonna be Larry Fitz. He still seems to get his every year.
Yeah, Fitz is
Uh,
phenomenal. Fitz is one of my favorite wide receivers of all time. I still remember buying Madden 10 with him and Troy Polamalu on the
Same,
front.
same.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, I love Larry Fitzgerald. I wish he had the cover to himself. Uh, I think the Lions win this football game. I think experience will win that for them. I like Kenny Galladay in this game. I like Marvin Jones in this game, and I like Stafford. Stafford's cheap on FanDuel, and my boy, carry on my wayward son. I'm big on Kerryon
Wow.
Johnson this year, so that's the name of my fantasy football team. Uh, he's my running back 3 though, which is kind of nice. But I like Kerryon Johnson this game and all season. Should be good if he can stay healthy. Vran
Yeah.
felt the need to share the news that Zach Zinner got cut. And who cares?
Yeah, but you would care when he gets down in the red zone and he
Oh my
vultures
god,
touchdowns.
he's not gonna vulture a touchdown.
You'll
CJ
say that when
Anderson is gonna
CJ
do it.
Anderson will.
Yeah, but he was like their 3rd or 4th string running back. They still had Riddick
I'm
last year.
actually on the flip flop. I'm actually gonna go Arizona here.
I
I
think Kyler
think
Murray loses his first start.
maybe he wins it, and I'm thinking he does.
Maybe he goes 16 and
Oddsharks
0.
has him so close that it's not even funny. Detroit 20 points and Arizona 19.6. So this is going to be a close game. I won't put any money on this game
No,
at
not a
all.
chance.
But I think I definitely could see. I could see Arizona, squeaking out a 3-point like last second field
Yeah,
goal.
me too. That should be a good, not great football team's football game.
Yeah.
I
All
mean,
right.
they're still NFL teams. All right, let's move on to the Sunday night football game. Steelers Patriots.
Sunday night.
The Steelers and the Patriots, they're going to be phenomenal again this year. They're going to be, Super Bowl contenders. Never count on Tom Brady to retire because he's not Andrew Luck.
He's gonna die on the field.
He's literally not Andrew Luck, so you can't count on him retiring. The Patriots, you can never count against them. I'm going to take them with the home field advantage. This is going to be a phenomenal football game. I wouldn't be surprised if the Steelers win, but Big Ben usually is worse on the road. I like Juju in this game. I like Connor in this game. I think this is probably going to be a high scoring game, but typically when I think that it's 13-10, which is fun. I don't like Brady in this game just because he's old, man. He really is. At some point, it's going to be like the Peyton Manning effect, right? Where they're just passing less. I do like Julian Edelman, though. I think he'll be productive enough. And Rob Gronkowski, psych, he retired because he also didn't like being injured.
Now he's a CBD advocate.
Yeah, that was actually funny. And I kind of felt bad for him though. He was like, I just wasn't having a good time. But you know,
Straight up not having a good time.
Gronk needs to be on TV.
Yeah, he needs to be on TV
He's
playing on Sunday Night Football.
He's an entertainer.
Please come back.
But I like Edelman. I think he'll be productive. I like James White in this game. Steelers typically have a pretty good rush defense, and Sonny Michel is kind of like they're like 2.5 down back. Like he'll catch some passes this year, but James White's gonna get 6, 7 targets, 8 targets in this game, so I think he'll be able to get his worth. And you know who I really like in this game? What's the Steelers tight end's name? I can't think. Oh yeah, Vance McDonald, my tight end. I like Vance McDonald all season. Last year he was kind of in a timeshare with tight end. Jesse James is gone, and he's in Detroit, which is funny because people are drafting T.J. Hockenson, but not Jesse James. Which, don't get me wrong, I would draft neither of them, but T.J. Hawkinson's not even going to be the number 1 tight end on the depth chart. But Antonio Brown, is that his name? His 150 targets or whatever are gone. So yeah. I think some of those go to McDonald. This is curiosity for wide receiver 2 for the Steelers, though. Is it going to be Dante Moncrief? James Washington?
Who knows?
Find out on Sunday night's episode of...
Find out on next week's
NFL football. Yeah.
But
I'm
you
picking
haven't
the Patriots.
mentioned one guy at all. Josh Gordon is back, baby.
Baran made a hell of a pick. He picked Josh Gordon in the 12th round, literally an hour
14th round.
Was it the 14th?
The 14th round.
That's even better. They picked him in the 14th round, and an hour after the draft, we get the news. Hey, Josh Gordon's reinstated. But the thing about Josh Gordon is, yeah, he's good at football, but can he stay off the weed? We'll see.
Tune in next week on.
I would like Josh Gordon. I like Josh Gordon a little bit in this game. You know what I'm saying? He just got reinstated like 2 weeks ago. So
give it a week or two.
Yeah, I would like him, like I said, in this game if stuff had been conditioned with it. I'm sure he's conditioned on his stuff, but that's a little different.
But come on. Josh Gordon as a wide receiver 3. I'll take it.
Yeah, that is pretty good because Josh Gordon's pretty good at football.
Yeah.
Next, Texans at Saints. This should be a phenomenal football game. This is the Monday night football game to watch. I don't care about Broncos.
This
at
is
Raiders.
The real Monday night football game.
We'll talk about the Broncos at Raiders, obviously, but we don't care as much as this game. I like Deshaun Watson in this game. I love Duke Johnson in this game and all season. Please let Duke Johnson be a 3-down back so my Duke Johnson pick can look phenomenal. Because do you know who I took in the 14th round, Baran?
I think it's Duke Johnson.
It was Duke Johnson.
Johnson and Johnson's baby company.
It might not have been Duke Johnson.
You should have made that your team name.
That might have been
Kerryon Johnson and Duke Johnson.
That might have been my 14th round pick was Devin Singletary. But I took Duke Johnson in like the 12th to 14th round. I know that for a fact. And then Lamar Miller went down, and I was like, oh, shit. Duke Johnson's got a chance to be a 3-down back. So we'll see what happens there. I think because I thought Duke Johnson would be able to be productive as a pass catcher. So I think even if the unfortunate situation were to happen where the Texans signed somebody, which I think logically Carlos Hyde is an option because Kansas City is probably going to cut him. So
or
if you
Kenyon Drake.
Please not Kenyon Drake because I have Kenyon. But I think Carlos Hyde makes a lot of sense. He's probably like 99% from Kansas. So if you have Carlos Hyde, although I would hate to see him sign with the Texans, and if he does get cut, don't think that you immediately need to cut Carlos Hyde from your roster. Just a tip of advice. Saints, obviously.
2 of the best wide receivers in the game going in on it.
Hopkins and Thomas, they're going to get theirs every week. You draft them in the first round. Same thing with Kamara. This should be a good football game, like phenomenal. Both teams are good on both sides of the ball. I don't really know what to expect. I'm going to pick the Saints to win because it's at home. Their offense is a little better, but I think the Texans have a little better defense. So I'll just give it to the home field advantage.
I don't know. New Orleans defense is it's nothing to be shaded about.
Keenan, if y'all know Keenan, he just came in the chat and said Rip Miller. Keenan, who drafted 5 wide receivers, first 5 rounds. One of his running backs, which I think was the 7th round, I think was Lamar Miller. So he was not
Yeah.
happy when that happened. He was like, we need to draft later in the season, which, as you know, we went on a cruise, so that was why we typically draft the week
Last
after.
weekend.
Yeah, like this past weekend, we usually draft on that weekend, but we drafted a week earlier because it was like, oh, we'll be on a cruise. That'll be cool. That'll be, and it was cool.
Yeah.
And
Um,
Keenan got the unluck of that because he had Lamar Miller, and another guy obviously had injury luck who got the other unluck of that. So
yeah. Odd Sharks really quickly has New Orleans winning the game 30.3 to 13.8. So they have New Orleans
that's a
winning,
blowout.
covering the spread, and the total will go under.
I don't.
Houston's +7.
I think the Saints win by about 10, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was under 10. I don't think that they'll win by 17, but I also wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised. The Saints are damn good.
I don't know. They should have won the Super Bowl probably last year.
Yeah,
So.
the Saints are definitely a Super Bowl contending team too.
All right.
Last but not least, like I said, we don't really care as much about this game. It's not even pulling up the whatever.
But it's Antonio
Okay, there we go.
Brown.
Yeah. Hard Knocks superstar Antonio Brown. Broncos
That
and
man
Raiders.
feet is gross.
Yeah, they really are. They,
Mm.
very gross. For $1 million, would you lick Antonio
Yes.
Brown's?
Yeah. What the fuck? Yeah.
So would
I'll
I,
take
but
like
it'd be gross.
$500. What?
His feet are disgusting. All right, I'm gonna take the Raiders in this. A lot of people were down on Antonio Brown this year, which I was hoping that I could potentially draft Antonio Brown at the end of the second round. Right, I was wrong. He went like 8th overall in our draft, which just blew me away. But I do think Antonio Brown's still gonna be a top 6-7 wide receiver this year. So I think that he will meet. He'll meet that value at getting picked there probably. I mean, he's still phenomenal. His last 4 seasons, maybe it's 5, 100 catches, 1,250 plus yards, 8 plus touchdowns every single season. Antonio Brown's one of the best receivers in the game. He's a drama queen now. This time last year, he was might have been still my favorite player in the league. Now I don't care for Antonio Brown at all, but I respect that he's still a phenomenal football player. I like Antonio Brown in this game. I don't love Antonio Brown, but I do like Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, he's interesting there. I mean, I don't know. Denver's defense is still pretty solid, but
I just think Josh Jacobs by volume will be good, right?
yeah, I mean, they really don't have anybody else there.
Yeah, exactly.
So
On the flip side of that, I don't really care for anybody on Denver's side of the ball. I don't really know the running back
Phillip Lindsay,
situation.
maybe.
Yeah, the running back situation where it's like Phillip Lindsay was really good last year, but they're saying Royce Freeman should get more touches.
It's
Phillip
kind of like
Lindsay
what we said before. He's one of those. It's one of those games that you need to monitor and see how they're going to play out the rest of the year.
I mean, obviously, if you have Phillip Lindsay, roll him out, right? You drafted him to roll him out. But for daily fantasy purposes, I would probably take a wait and see approach, or at least I'm taking this guy as a flyer, not load him in most of your lineups.
I agree. Odd Sharks has Oakland winning 25.6 to 12. So who knows?
Yeah, I like Oakland in this game. I think also it's the beginning of the season, so the odds aren't going to be I mean, obviously it's very researched and stuff, but the odds get more and more accurate, I think, as the year goes on. Week 1 is the hardest to predict.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just so happy that football is finally back. We actually have today is the 30th, so football is 5 straight days, and then next week it's NFL kickoff. So it's gonna make me real happy.
Can't wait to post up on a Sunday and watch NFL Red Zone all day. Those are the days,
right.
man. You just see the points come rolling in. That's
Mm-hmm.
Good luck to everybody this season, man. Good luck. May your team stay
I'm
healthy and signed and not hold out. And, hopefully, since me and Varan do the podcast, maybe me and Varan face each other in the championship. That would be cool. But for all of y'all out there, unless you're in my league, I hope you win the championship. If you're in my league, then, dude, I hope you don't win a single game this year.
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
But this segment of the podcast is sponsored by whoever wants to sponsor us. Please, we like money.
We do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Cash out? Question mark.
Oh yeah.
So we're gonna wrap it up. That should be a little longer than an hour. You're in the chat. We appreciate you. We're gonna take some questions in the chat. We will upload it on YouTube. I'll either upload it tonight or tomorrow during the day, but it will be posted on Saturday. And we're thinking about getting into doing betting against the spread instead of just picking head to head, which obviously more people care about picking against the spread than picking head to head. We're still going to continue to do daily fantasy, like sleepers, who we think some good low end picks will be. We're going to continue to give you waiver wire advice, people you should be on the lookout for. And we might start doing 2 podcasts a week, right? So Tuesday, Friday. Friday would be after the Thursday night game, and then a preview of the weekend, the Sunday, Monday games. But Tuesday would be more a look at like a little bit of review of what happened last week, as well as a little bit of a preview, but also moves you should make, or maybe people will be able to ask us trade questions and stuff like that. Break that down,
Yeah, I'm just happy to do this now. Like you said before, this was kind of a dream that we wanted to do, and hopefully we get the snowball rolling down the hill, and
Yeah, if it
I'd love to
happens, it
have more people
happens.
coming. Yep.
We like we like talking football. We want it to be talking football with the homies, and we're going to continue to try and give that vibe. We appreciate you watching. You're going to follow me on Twitter at Mateo, though, Mateo, if I can spell though right, THOUGH. And Varan's is
It's Matthew, MATTHEWV 42 on the Twitter.
So be sure to follow us. My Instagram name is the same. Is yours the same?
What is it?
Is your Instagram the same as your Twitter name?
I believe so, yeah.
So be sure to follow us over there. If you're watching on YouTube by chance, be sure to subscribe. Leave us some comments. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you didn't like. Tell us what you want to see. Ask us some questions. We'll read and respond to those. So appreciate y'all watching.